You can go ahead.
Hello, this is Chris, and this is my Dragon Eye deck that I managed to get into the top 8 with at the New York qualifier, and my buddy, Drago Archer. It really should be Ozzy Dahaka, but, you know, money. It's expensive.
It is expensive.
Also, no one gets rid of those. Let's start with the deck with the secret rares. We got 4 Aussies. You have to hit your Aussies. You have to draw them because it's your win con essentially. Just getting into the sword. If you don't get it, you have a very uphill battle for the whole game. So you also run 4 of the grade 2 Searcher. One of my favorite things about him is he does not cost gauge to play, which is hard for a Thunder Knights build deck to actually accomplish sometimes. And the search is so important to get either Ozzy or Throne. I know a lot of people play 3 Throne, but there's so many games where I don't even see it when I'm playing 4 of them that I don't feel that it's viable. And I've had a lot of success running 4, so I'm going to stick with it. What I do run 3 of is the sword, because you do not want to draw this at all. You draw it and you cry. And I draw it all the time. I've actually drawn into all 3 on multiple occasions before I've even seen like a single Throne or search, so it's difficult. It's difficult. Let's go with the rest of the monster line. 4 of the buddy, Drago Archer. He's free call, lets you draw, and he's a Thunder Knight, so he's good. He's good. I hear a lot of people play him. Then there's 4 Commodore Pawns. He's really good. One of my favorite plays is getting 2 Fawns out while you have Thrown out, and they're just 4 crit.
Just 14.
I've beaten people just, you know, they were at 8, and I was like, attack with sword, attack with 2 Fawns, and they lost. So it's a beautiful card. And also, giving things move, it lets you just, you know, chump block with a Drago Archer, which is really nice. And he's got decent stats. Then we got 2 Thunder Knights drums. He's very helpful for dealing that 2 damage penetrate when you're trying to go for game. I've won a lot of games just going attack with drum, hit for 2, and then attack with sword for 6 crit. Sword just is so OP. Negates attacks, just 6 crit, 12 attack, OP. So, yeah, if you have to deal that extra 1 or 2 damage, drum is so helpful for that. And you can actually give him the extra crit with Fawn, which is really nice. Then we got, this is a personal choice. I haven't seen this card in a Thunder Knights build yet. At least I haven't seen one, so. Sword Shield Dragon. I run him over Halberd Dragon. I leave Halberd Dragon in the side deck, I'll show you later. But attacking for 3 crit early game is so helpful for putting them in range to just one-hit them with the sword. And the fact that he's a free call cost is amazing. So, for those reasons, he's just a really solid card in the deck. And my last 2 slots go to Bastard Sword Dragon. I have not seen him in a lot of builds, but I think he's so good just for being... You start with 4 cards, which is deadly, and his ability to essentially be 2 cards on the field for 1 is just too good. And whenever I get him, I'm usually doing very well. And him with the sword is just... I can usually just win that turn, if not next turn. And then he's a blocker, so he's amazing. You know, he's an OP card. For the spell, and then onto the spells. We've got 4 and 4 of the Legend World spells. They're both amazing draw cards. I feel
they're also from Ancient World.
Yeah, but Dragon, and they're just so amazing. Oh, I called it Legend World again, didn't I?
Again? You've done this before?
I always do it.
Oh. They're necessary.
But yeah. You can get away with playing this multiple times because you start with 12, and then you get life gain throughout the game, so it's pretty nice. and you need it to hit your Aussie cards. You need to. There's obviously 8 shields. Now, obvious reasons you need to negate those attacks. Something I actually did a lot during the tournament, I played Aussie to the right or left if I was in a bad spot, and if I had shields in hand, and I would make it impossible for decks with high penetrates to hit me, and made it harder for them to get rid of Aussie for an extra turn, which was nice. And then a lot of people play Black Dragon Shields, some people play this card, some people play something else. I'm playing Dark Energy. Essentially, if you have managed to get 4 gauge when you have 4 gauge before getting Aussie out, you can have Aussie for 2 turns. And every game I've gotten Aussie out, every game during the entire tournament, and I've got him out essentially twice every time I fought someone. The person has a negate attack. They negate the attack, and he does nothing. Most cases, I keep him on the field 1 turn, and then Aussie devastates their field. So I like playing Dark Energy over the Black Dragon Shields.
That's your entire main deck, right?
Yes, that's the entire main deck.
So side deck.
The side is 1 Tenbu. I usually replace a Bastard Sword with him if it's a swarmy deck, or various situations where he comes in a lot of handy. Just great card. Never seen him used poorly. I run this card. I regret running this card. Drum the Future. I did not use him effectively once throughout the entire tournament, and he was basically in for shield negating cards, but having to discard a card and pay essentially 3 gauge the turn you want to play him is too much. I decided to give it a try because I had 2 extra side deck spaces that I kind of was iffy about, but this is probably going to come out for something else. And then Thunder Knight, Halberd Dragon. The side deck is kind of lacking for this deck. You can't run a lot of tech cards because you need so many essential cards for the main deck, you really can't get rid of any of them. So you end up replacing other types of card slots. I run him when Sword Shield Dragon isn't enough, and I need that extra attack and defense. And, it's Halberd Dragon. He's always good for Thunder Knights. And then, 4 Black Dragon Shields. If I'm running a matchup where Dark Energy isn't necessary or just can't come in handy, or I just need shields, I just switch in the Black Dragon Shields. There's a lot of situations where one or the other is better against certain decks. And yeah, that's the side.
Alright, so question time.
Alright.
What would you say are pros and cons about the deck that you noticed from playing it for,
4 cards in hand.
9 rounds?
4 cards in hand.
Yeah, it's a killer.
It's actually, I would argue, the only downside to the deck. Unless they're playing spell counters, I feel like this deck at 6 would have no weakness. It'd be too easy. I think it'd be almost too easy to get Aussie out.
So basically, the biggest problem is if Throne comes out, but they hit it with Abracadabra, Weathering Guard, something like that, right?
Yeah. It's not irreversible. You can predict that a spell negator is coming just by what deck you're playing, and I have kept 2 in hand against certain decks doing that, charging other cards instead, if I was concerned. Sometimes I like to play it turn 1 if I get it, and then if it forces them to negate it turn 1 or not negate it at all, because once it's on the field, it's there forever. And so I do a few things to try and get around that. And you run 4 in the deck and you have a searcher for it, so you can always just simply play another one if you can. A lot of the time, I'll play Throne first, and then I will play. Where is he? The Twin Dragon Demon, and I'll wait. Because if they negate the spell, I can always search a new spell with him. So it's important to play the spell before you play the creature. You have to know that, whether or not it's going to go off. Another thing that can hurt the deck. I had interesting matchups against Darkness Dragon World is a strange one because Shadow Dive they can attack around Ozzy a lot, and they have those they have Black Dragon Shield to negate attacks, and they have a few cards that can hurt. So.
Alright, just one more thing. Is there anything in the main deck you would consider changing after playing those 9 rounds or 8 rounds you played?
Honestly, no. The deck performed very well, and one of the biggest issues with the deck is you need 4 Ozzy, you need at least 2 Sword, you need
space.
At least 3 Throne, you need the Searcher, you need Dragon Shields, you need the draw spells, and you have 15 cards left to work with after all of that. And you need them all for creatures so that you can have something to sacrifice to summon. And also just so you can have some field presence.
Is there anything you would consider... I know you talked about the drum coming out of the side deck, which, now that I read it, it seems very gauge and card heavy. Starting with 4 cards and having to pay 3 for Ozzy in the first place.
Yeah,
what would you consider replacing it with? Is there anything that you wish you had while you were playing that just wasn't there?
I think I have to just kind of search for something. I was considering a cheap to play size 3 armor dragon from Dragon World that has some form of soul guard that I could use to stall for 2 turns. I'm also considering some form of techie spell card that would be useful against a bad matchup. But for now I'm just going to consider my options. I'm not really quite sure yet.
Okay, that's interesting. You guys can comments. Obviously, he's looking for a different to side deck, so anything you want to say is great. This, like we said, is top 8. Unfortunately, is 8th place. He lost to one of our friends at our locals, who was in 1st place. Unfortunate, but still, a good game from what I heard. I'm going to post the recap. Actually, I'm probably going to post a recap first. We'll see what happens. But this is top 8. You can leave any comments, any questions. Like I said, if you want to suggest a sideboard, we're always up for suggestions. That's about it. Is there anything else you want to say about the deck?
Your buddy must be Buddy Rare Ozzy.
Yes. How much is Ozzy? Like 60, right? Or something?
I heard it was 60, 80.
Wow.
Ironically, you always have to get Ozzy if you want to win. And Drago Archer, I don't play every game, so it's actually a big deal to have Ozzy.
Would you consider making the buddy maybe the search card? That's a card you tend to play in games.
I would heavily consider, but simply out of aesthetic, I would prefer much greater to have a Buddy Rare Ozzy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's simply aesthetics. It doesn't help that it's not fun having that common buddy and it's just sitting there going, "You're not special."
You're not special.